It felt like someone was sticking a knife in my back and slowly pulling it out.
Her fingers would get fixed and tight and like mangled.
He was shedding his skin, I would say, something like a snake.
He didn't look like my son anymore. It just scared us to death.
How could one person have all these different things wrong with them?
Would you know what to make of it if somebody came in with all those symptoms?
Next, 3 medical mysteries that defy the experts. One day, Nikki O'Donnell is a healthy 5-year-old. The next, his body is under attack from a host of terrifying symptoms. And no one can tell his parents why.
The anguish of watching your child deteriorate before your eyes, it's incredible.
Then, Christine Lupinacci is a supermom until years of relentless, debilitating pain leave her questioning her own sanity.
Been on medication for years, and I'm still in excruciating pain. Maybe something's wrong with my head.
And Jackie Spar is an outgoing teenager who's full of promise until her own body begins to betray her.
The pain was so severe that she'd just say to cut off her legs.
When illness strikes, we look to doctors to give us answers. But what if they can't? For these unlucky patients, diagnosis is a mystery. In 2000, Uma and Vincent O'Donnell's son, Nikki, is a healthy, happy 5-year-old child.
He liked to go to the park, play ball with his daddy, help mommy cook. Just a happy little boy.
Nikki was a playful little guy, always in a good mood, always wanting to just have fun.
He was never really sick in his life. He was a very healthy boy.
But on April 13th of that year, everything changes.
So it was around 8 in the evening, and I just ordered Chinese food for the children. And Nikki came up to me and said, "Mom, I don't feel well." I took his temperature. He had a temperature of 103. And when I closely examined his body, his ankles were swollen, and he had a rash around his ankles.
It was all over his body. They looked like nickels, and they were red and raised.
I thought it was an allergic reaction to the Chinese food, and I immediately called his doctor. And he said to give him an antihistamine and also pain medication. I gave him his medication, and I figured he was going to be fine.
But when Nikki wakes up the next morning, he's not fine.
Usually, he would be the first one up in the morning, jumping out of bed and getting the rest of us up. But this morning, he just laid there. First thing to do is we checked his temperature, and he was still running a very high fever. His temperature was 103 at that time, and he was shivering.
Everything was there, the swelling, the rash, the fever, and he was complaining of stomach pain.
Concerned, Uma and Vincent take Nikki to see the pediatrician.
The doctor stated, it looks like just a common virus, nothing to be too worried about. 2 or 3 days, he should be fine.
But by the next morning, Nikki isn't any better. In fact, he's worse.
It's April 15th, and his symptoms are still persistent. He's still swollen, the rash is still there.
I remember this big bloody scream. He woke up and he said his belly was hurting, and after that he started throwing up.
He was in a fetal position, moaning, "Mommy, help me." I put him in the bathtub to bring the fever down because it was like 103. It was climbing, actually.
Now Uma and Vincent are getting worried. They take Nikki back to his pediatrician, who gives him a strep test, but it comes out negative.
Doctor said, "Take him home, he's fine. It's a virus. It's gonna be over soon, it has to run its course."
With that, we took him back home, thinking maybe he does just have a bad flu.
Vincent and Uma give Nikki more pain relievers and put him to bed, hoping his strange symptoms will subside overnight.
On April 16th, all hell breaks loose in the house. My son's temperature climbs. It actually goes above 104 temperature. And he's very lethargic. He wouldn't even move. His eyes are just rolling in the back of his head.
Nikki's eyes were bloodshot red, and they were like fire, flames of red. And his tongue was very red and glossy, like a strawberry.
He didn't look like my son anymore. The bloodshot eyes and the strawberry tongue and the swelling and the persistent fever. It just scared us to death. I've never seen anything like this in my whole life.
This time, Vincent rushes Nikki to the hospital, hoping a new doctor may have a new take on Nikki's mysterious illness.
And they said the same thing as the other doctors said. None can be done. And there's no medicine. It's a virus and it'll run its course.
Not knowing what else to do, Vincent brings Nikki back home once again.
He says to me, Nikki is fine. The doctor said he's fine, he's gonna be fine. And I said, he's not fine, he's dying.
I said, I'm not a doctor, we're not doctors. They're doctors. I didn't go to medical school, they did.
And I said to him, I am his mother. I'm his first doctor. And I knew something was wrong with my baby.
The next morning is April 17th, 5 days since Nikki first fell ill. His parents hope the frightening symptoms have lessened overnight, but what they find instead is horrifying.
The skin was starting to peel on his fingers and the bottom of his feet. Sort of like when you have a sunburn.
It looked like dried glue. After you have it and it dries off on your fingers, and it's all like peeling and crusted.
And I feel his heart, and his heart is pounding out of his chest.
Uma is now out of her mind with worry. She rushes Nikki back to his pediatrician yet again.
I pleaded to the doctor, let's get him hospitalized. His brain is frying. He's dying. No, he is not dying. He has a virus. He's going to get over it. No one would listen. It was like hitting a brick wall. And I guess they looked upon us like we were hysterical parents.
My wife said, if something happens to my child, you're going to be held accountable.
If he dies, it's on your head. It's your responsibility. And I want him to be hospitalized. And as adamant as I was, it went nowhere.
Uma and Nikki leave the doctor's office without treatment or answers. They go home and wait.
We all knew that it was no flu or virus. He was dying on us, and no one could stop it.
The anguish of watching your child deteriorate before your eyes, it's incredible. It's a feeling that no mother or father should ever go through.
It's a helpless feeling. You feel like you're failing.
April 20th. 7 days have passed since Nikki first fell ill, and his symptoms aren't letting up.
My wife kept saying, go back, go back. So I took Nick to the pediatrician. The doctor looked at him and said he might have scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever is a bacterial infection that most often strikes children. It's named for the scarlet rash it produces all over the patient. Vincent rushes Nikki to the hospital, where he's admitted right away and given a series of blood tests.
And then the following morning, our pediatrician that we had came in, said, oh, his tests all came back fine, I'm gonna discharge him. And with that, my wife said, this boy is still sick, he still has a fever. How can you discharge him?
I just felt he was wrong, he was dead wrong. And then he proceeded to show us the labs. Look, his labs are fine. I'm gonna, discharge him. And I just told him, he is dying. You are not discharging him. In fact, it's over, you're off this case.
My wife says, you're fired.
And I pointed and I said, you are never to come next to my son again.
His jaw dropped, and my wife said, now leave this room right now. He just walked away, and there we were.
And my husband held his head. He was like, oh my God. Because at that point, we didn't have a doctor. We didn't have a prayer.
Just 7 days ago, Nikki O'Donnell was a perfectly healthy 5-year-old, but now he's in the hospital fighting for his life. What seemed like a virus has turned into something much more terrifying, and no one can tell the O'Donnells what it is.
My wife started asking around. She asked one nurse, do you know any doctors who I could call to help my son? She said, oh, I know good practice, MD for Kids.
Uma immediately calls MDs for Kids, a private pediatric practice. In a matter of hours, Dr. William Gerba appears in Nikki's hospital room.
When parents are unhappy, they have an option of calling in another physician to assume the care and to ask the primary person to step back. Uma was desperate. She wanted someone to come in and pick up the ball. So I stepped in.
When Dr. Gerber came over, there was a calm inside of me that I knew that this was the man who's going to save my son's life.
I come into the room and Nikki is lying in bed.
Wasted no time, looked at Nick's chart. They examined him.
He was peeling or shedding his skin, I would say something like a snake. It was just scales were falling off. We have fever persisting, rash persisting, cracked lips, bright red palms.
And he turned around to me. He asked, how long has he had this fever for? I said, this is about like 8 or 9 days now he had it. He goes, we have to do something now. He has to get treatment right away before the window of opportunity is closed.
Dr. Gerba recognizes Nikki's strange symptoms from a previous case, and he knows it's no virus.
In my mind, with Nikki's symptoms and story, this was Kawasaki's disease.
Kawasaki disease is a rare disorder that affects the vascular system. For reasons unknown, the body overreacts in its response to an initial infection, resulting in inflammation of the blood vessels all over the body. If not treated in time, Kawasaki can lead to serious heart problems, including aneurysms and weakening of the coronary arteries.
There is a great sense of urgency. Treatment done before 10 days has been the most successful in preventing serious cardiac complications.
We have a 10-day window to treat this disease, and we're on the 10th day.
Dr. Gerba immediately orders an echocardiogram to see how far Nikki's Kawasaki has progressed. The results are terrifying. The blood vessels leading to Nikki's heart are dilated, and an abnormal layer of fluid is surrounding his heart.
That indicates that there was some inflammation going on.
Every hour counts. If Nikki's condition worsens, a blood clot could form, leading to a heart attack. Dr. Gerba must start treatment immediately. Kawasaki disease is treated with an intravenous infusion of protein called gamma globulin and high doses of aspirin, which reduce inflammation.
That morning they administered it. It was administered through the day, the afternoon, through the night. And then late the next morning, his fever broke. His life came back to his face. His eyes cleared up. The redness went away, and he was back to his old self.
The relief, it was overwhelming.
But the relief is premature. Although Nikki's been treated and his Kawasaki disease most likely won't return, his 10-day struggle with the illness may have left his heart irreparably damaged.
Kawasaki disease is like a fire. Yes, we could put out the fire, and yes, the trees will grow back, but we don't really know how much damage is done.
We had to do echoes every couple months, and he was on aspirin therapy.
Fortunately, the fluid around the heart and the dilation of the coronary arteries resolved.
My son is safe. I can dance at his wedding. It was good.
He looked so much better, and I just cried for joy. And I was jumping, literally.
5 years later, Nikki is once again in great health.
I'm 10 years old now, and I'm very healthy.
He's an absolute joy. You can't ask for a better son, a better child.
And I asked him, so what do you want to do now when you get older?
I want to be a pediatrician so no other kid could suffer this disease.
Nikki and his parents are grateful that Dr. Gerba recognized the signs of Kawasaki before time ran out, but they wonder why Nikki's other doctors did not.
There is no single test that can tell a physician that this is Kawasaki syndrome. It's a pattern, a constellation, a grouping of signs that one puts together as a package. I think it's quite appropriate to assume when you see someone early in an illness that they have a virus, because that's 99% of what most children have. It's when he failed to improve that the red lights had to go on, and people had to start thinking now, oh, what else could this be?
Later, I came to the realization, well, if my wife wasn't so adamant firing his doctor, there would have been very dire consequences.
You have to be your children's advocate. Mothers are the first doctors. Always trust your instinct and your gut.
When Nikki's illness struck, it was only a matter of days before he was lying in a hospital bed. But for 36-year-old Christine Lupinacci, mysterious symptoms came on gradually. In 1998, Christine was unstoppable.
I basically had the superwoman complex. I volunteered, I was involved in PTA, you name it, I did it.
She was the perfect mom. She was always involved, and we had a great relationship.
She definitely was the backbone of the family. You can always call her for anything, for advice. She was always there to help us out.
But in October of 1998, Christine starts to slow down.
I started feeling very fatigued. Just to walk to the mailbox started to become an effort for me. It was difficult to vacuum and washing the dishes or carrying laundry up and down the stairs. I'd have to take periodic breaks every 2 minutes, and I thought it was just coming down with a cold.
Christine visits her doctor, who tells her she has a common virus, mononucleosis, which just needs to run its course.
They told me it wasn't going to be a fast recovery, that mono takes a while, but they said each day I'll start to feel better.
But Christine only gets worse, and 6 months later, she begins to experience something strange.
My legs started swelling up, my ankles were swelling up, my fingers literally tripled in size.
Her fingers got so swollen that she couldn't take her wedding ring off. Sometimes socks wouldn't be able to fit over her ankles.
Each time I had inflammation, my temperature would go up. You could have fried an egg on any one of my joints.
It was so hot to the touch. It was like you put your hand on a damn stove.
I literally had to sit down by the frozen food section just to try to get my body to cool down, just to make it through the supermarket.
Christine's doctor doesn't know what's causing her strange symptoms, but he prescribes painkillers and anti-inflammatories. They don't work. Then, Christine notices another disturbing change in her body.
I started noticing that it literally hurt for me to open and close my eyes. I felt like there was sand in my eyes at all times. My mouth was constantly dry. I would go from 8 to 12 glasses of water a day.
Christine sees another doctor who diagnoses her with Sjogren's syndrome, a disorder often associated with arthritis that destroys the glands that produce tears and saliva.
Made sense. I thought, this is it. It was creating the joint pain, it was causing the inflammation, it was causing the dry eyes, the dry mouth. And again, I was on the medication for several weeks, and nothing changed.
Over the next year, Christine sees more doctors and is given a series of diagnoses, ranging from rheumatoid arthritis to anemia. But none seem to be accurate, and no medication offers relief from her pain.
Some people collect stamps, some people collect baseball cards, I collect misdiagnosis.
Every time I went to a doctor, it wasn't fixed. I said, why are her joints hot? You know, maybe she has arthritis. And then it was, well, she has Lyme's disease. Well, she has lupus. They didn't know the answer.
Soon, Christine begins to feel like she's losing control of her life.
The bills were piling up. I had lost employment at the time because I just couldn't work. The house was messy. Everything was affected.
She felt inadequate. She felt that she was letting her family down.
She wasn't herself anymore, and she was slowly deteriorating.
All I could think about was the pain, the constant pain.
For the past 3 years, Christine Lupinacci has suffered from intense pain and swelling in her limbs, fatigue, and dry eyes and mouth. Just as she thinks it can't get any worse, her symptoms take a whole new turn.
And she went from a size 7 to a size 20.
I thought she was pregnant. Her belly blew up so much that she looked like she was 4 or 5 months pregnant.
We just assumed that because she was sleeping so much, that she was being lazy and that she was just putting extra weight on.
I was having pains on my side, shooting from my abdomen to my back. The way I described it was it felt like someone was sticking a knife in my back and slowly pulling it out.
A new doctor tells Christine that she has kidney stones and that they should pass in a few weeks.
I thought to myself, if this is what people with kidney stones experience every single day, you know, I thought I was a wimp. I thought I was pathetic.
But these kidney stones never materialize.
And we were getting fed up. It was just like, what's next? What else is she gonna have? And how could one person have all these different things wrong with them?
It was like we just wanted to hear her happy and feel good, and we weren't getting that.
I felt like a burden to everyone. I felt pathetic. I was ashamed. I was embarrassed. And I wanted to give up, and I didn't blame my husband if he was going to give up and walk out the door.
March 4th, 2002. It's been 3.5 years since Christine's pain first began, and the worst is yet to come.
Because my abdomen had been growing in size, I always had periodic bursts of, let's take control, let's do something positive, let's feel good. And I had been exercising, and I just finished doing sit-ups and crunches and was talking to my family, and the pain started.
She leaned on the counter, and she said, damn, I feel horrible. I've got a sharp pain. My stomach hurts.
We didn't really take it too seriously. It was just kind of like a normal, everyday thing where she would take some aspirin and try to relax.
So I excused myself from the kitchen, and I walked upstairs. And as I got midway up the stairs, the pain was worse. I would say 100 times worse than both deliveries I've had with my children. And I thought I was dying right then and there. I screamed. My husband said that he'll never forget that sound.
All hell broke loose. She was crying, hysterical. We called the ambulance.
The pain was so severe that she actually blacked out at some point.
Christine is rushed by ambulance to the ER.
When I got the call and rushed to the hospital, she was lying on the gurney, gripping the bars on it. She was hysterical, but she was crying because of the pain she was in.
At this point, the doctor came in and said, we want to do a CAT scan, but there's no technician. So I said, well, what does that mean? Get a technician. He says, what I advise you to do, this was our doctor, is go home and bring her to the office in the morning. So I lost it.
My husband said, there's no effing way she's going home. There's no way.
I said, you're giving her Demerol, you're giving her needles with drugs, and it's not doing shit. I'm gonna go home with her like this. It's no way. I said, what are you out of? I said, are you out of your minds? No, she's not leaving here. She's staying here. You are gonna find out what the problem is.
Christine is kept in the hospital overnight, and first thing in the morning, her doctors order a CAT scan of her abdomen. When the results come in, Christine is told she needs to see an OBGYN immediately, but she's not told why.
Scared to death, not knowing really what to expect, this very large man who looked like a bouncer or a linebacker came walking into my hospital room, and he said with the sweetest face, "Hi, I'm Dr. Spataro."
I received a phone call from the emergency room stating that they were in need of a consultation for my services. I happened to be the obstetrician gynecologist on call that day.
And he says, "Well, my dear, we're gonna make you feel better. You shouldn't be experiencing this pain." And I believed him. He was going to get to the bottom of it.
I explained to Christine that the findings on the CAT scan have revealed a large, complex pelvic mass.
He believed that the daily pain that I was feeling had to do with this large, twisted mass.
From the scan, Dr. Spataro can see that the mass seems to have grown out of Christine's left ovary. What he can't tell is whether or not the mass is cancerous.
The bottom line is the only way for me to give her all the answers that we're really looking for is surgery at that point in time and get this mass out and really take a look and see what it was.
There was a beast in there, whether it was benign or malignant, I just wanted it out.
Doctors have found a large mass growing in Christine Lupinacci's abdominal cavity, and they don't know if it's cancer. 2 days after she's rushed to the ER, Christine goes in for a surgery to remove the mass.
That moment when she was getting rolled into surgery, she was scared. She was extremely scared, and so were we.
I was more fearful for my children. I was so afraid that they were going to grow up without a mother. It was frightening.
We made an incision which started just below her belly button, probably about 8 to 9 inches in length. When we got into the abdominal cavity, you already could see 2 parts of this mass. Both of these masses had grown from the left ovary. Probably through the course of exercising, she ruptured one of these masses, and that was probably responsible for the sudden onset of all the pain, which actually made her come into the emergency room.
Dr. Spataro removes the masses and sends them to the pathologist for analysis.
My first impressions were that it was a benign tumor. And we were getting ready to close Christine's incision. But just before we were getting ready to start with the stitches, the pathologist called me and told me Christine's tumor indeed was malignant. It was an ovarian cancer.
Ovarian cancer begins when cells in one or both ovaries rapidly divide and grow out of control, developing into a tumor. The tumor ultimately spreads and damages surrounding tissues or organs.
Christine's tumor was huge. It looked like it had spread quite well throughout her body. I realized that Christine was going to be facing a probable uphill battle. Christine had been counseled that if this wasn't ovarian cancer, we would have to also remove both ovaries with the cervix and her uterus.
A 1-hour exploratory surgery turns into a 6-hour hysterectomy. Dr. Spataro removes Christine's uterus, cervix, ovaries, and as much of the tumor as possible.
And then I went downstairs to speak to Gene in the lobby. And I pulled him aside into a dark corner of the lobby. I informed him of the diagnosis.
My knees gave out. I was on the floor.
I saw my brother-in-law's legs buckle. And right there, I thought that she died on the table. I thought, what am I going to do without my sister? Oh, God. She was my best friend. What am I going to do without her?
Part of me died that day. Something inside that was there is no longer there.
Christine is wheeled out of the OR into a recovery room. Hours later, she wakes up.
I was grateful to wake up, and I saw my daughters and my husband.
She was a mess. Tubes in her mouth. She says, "What happened?" And I said, Chris, World War III went inside of you. They took a lot of stuff out, a lot of bad stuff.
Dr. Spataro came in, and he told me that I had ovarian cancer. I felt like this huge burden was lifted off my shoulders. Sounds crazy, but in a sense, there was proof. I wasn't crazy. I had cancer.
Christine remains in the ICU for 11 days, recovering from the operation. She's surprised to discover that with the tumor gone, so is her pain.
The first time I stood up and the nurses had me walking in the hospital, if it wasn't for the staples and my incision, I would have definitely tried to have done a cartwheel, because every symptom that I had was suddenly gone.
All this discomfort that she had been going through this entire time, the back pain, the pressure, all these things probably were related to her pelvic tumor.
Although her tumor has been removed, Christine is not yet cancer-free. Dr. Spataro explains to Christine she'll need chemotherapy to destroy all the cancerous cells in her body.
Was this chemo going to work? What if I didn't make it? I'd catch my daughters kind of just looking at me. I thought in my mind, they're trying to remember, they're trying to hold on to images of me, just in case I'm not here.
But after 7 months of chemotherapy, Christine gets the best news she could hope for. The cancer seems to have gone into remission.
Suddenly, instead of saying goodbye, I realized I would see my children's smiles tomorrow.
It's been 4 years since her operation, and today Christine remains cancer-free.
My sister's like she never had ovarian cancer. She's actually stronger, and her will to live and just her outlook on life is totally different.
I guess she feels she has a second chance.
But it was a close call. For months, it seemed that Christine had been diagnosed with everything but cancer. She and her family wonder why it wasn't caught earlier.
When we have a mass that's growing, let's say in a confined area, a small area, when it grows, it irritates tissues and nerves, which cause us to have pain. We realize something's going wrong. With ovarian cancer, these masses can grow so large before we realize that something is going on. We thought initially during the surgery that her chances of survival were 30% or less. But obviously, Christine is one that bucked the odds.
She's alive, and everything else is gravy.
Cancer has taught me to be the driver, to no longer take a backseat to my health, and to listen to my body. And I'm grateful for every single moment of every day. And life is good. Life is good. Life is good.
It took Christine collapsing in her own home for doctors to diagnose her with cancer. But Jackie Spar had to go halfway around the world for an answer to her mysterious illness. In 2001, 15-year-old Jackie Spar was always on the go.
I was running from school to softball practice. I was playing piano and hanging out with my friends and going to dances and doing everything a teenager should be doing.
Growing up, Jacqueline was always very feisty. She was always just a go-getter.
Once you put her mind to something, whatever it would be, she would accomplish it and accomplish it really well.
But in March of 2001, Jackie's world begins to fall apart.
She was in a new high school. She was making friends.
And she went to softball practice, and she was really excited to join the team.
She wanted at least to make JV at that year. And in order to make the team, you have to run a mile.
And it was a really cold day, and I remember running around that track, and all of a sudden I had to sit down. I couldn't keep going because I had such pain in my chest. Each breath coming in was just like a knife through my chest.
I rushed her to the doctor. They stopped everything they were doing to make sure she was okay.
Jackie's doctor examines her and tells her she has costochondritis, a painful inflammation of the sternum and ribs. The causes are unknown.
Unfortunately, with costochondritis, there doesn't appear to be any sort of cure or pill for it. The doctor tells you to rest, put on heat compresses.
They assumed at that point it would heal itself and go away.
But in the following weeks, the pain Jackie feels in her chest spread throughout her entire body.
It would be in her legs, her arms, her shins, her ankles, her chin. There'd sort of be waves going through, sometimes like a sledgehammer.
I'd be in class and pain would just shoot down my leg and I would just collapse to the floor.
She'd actually be on the floor, shaking, and the school would quickly give us a call, or they'd order an ambulance to take her away.
3 weeks later, Jackie sees a rheumatologist who runs blood tests as well as a bone and tissue scan.
Mid-May, after all the blood tests came back, they finally had a diagnosis of what was wrong with her, and the diagnosis was spondyloarthropathy. My immediate reaction was, could you spell that for me?
Spondyloarthropathy is a form of arthritis or joint inflammation that affects the spine.
I was ecstatic. We know what it is. Let's go take care of it. Jacqueline should be on the road to recovery.
The treatment at that point was the NSAID, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. And unfortunately, as weeks went by, we just kept having a child in a lot of pain.
She wasn't out with her friends anymore. She wasn't playing sports anymore. She was just on the couch, kind of incapacitated.
Still unable to determine the cause of Jackie's pain, her doctors continue to treat the symptoms.
The doctors are putting me on one arthritis medication after another. All I was doing was just popping pills in my mouth, trying to get some relief. I was on OxyContin, which was like this huge narcotic supposed to help pain. It didn't even help that much.
When your sister is in so much pain and given every painkiller on the market and it doesn't work, you just want to kill the doctors, why isn't this working? There must be a reason.
For the last 6 months, Jackie Spar has been suffering from mysterious debilitating pain all over her body, and doctors can't explain why. A month ago, she had to stop attending high school, and now walking is so unbearable that Jackie needs a wheelchair.
The pain was so severe that there would be some days I remember where she'd just say to cut off her legs.
Then, more than a year after her pain began, she experiences a frightening new symptom.
She'd be at a piano lesson and her fingers would start to hurt. They would get fixed and tight and mangled.
It'd be almost like claws or when you see weird bark of trees, it's all wrapped over in itself.
almost like you'd see in some movies with these monsters like this. And she couldn't pick up silverware, couldn't hold a pen, couldn't even open up a door with her hands.
My muscles were spasming and getting stuck in that position. And it was just so painful. And it wouldn't be for days, it wouldn't be for a few minutes.
Jackie's doctors are perplexed by this strange condition.
The doctors ruled out so many different diseases or things that could have caused it, whether it was zinc, copper, malaria, Lyme disease. They just ruled out a number of diseases which they thought she didn't have.
Every doctor would say, I'm gonna get the answer for you, I'll tell you what's wrong. But it's not like I believed them anymore at that point. You know, I'd sort of roll my eyes and just be like, sure. You tell me what's wrong with me. Go ahead. And I didn't have any confidence in their statements anymore.
Finally, the primary rheumatologist suggested that she might have what's called RND, reflexive neurovascular dystrophy.
Reflex neurovascular dystrophy is a condition where the spinal cord short circuits and sends abnormal pain signals to the brain and to nerves, causing extreme pain throughout the body.
So it wasn't an arthritic problem, but more of a pain syndrome problem stemming from her spinal cord.
They're basically telling me that my nerves are not sending the right signals, and I just have to retrain these signals.
He suggested we go see a specialist in that field at a hospital out in Seattle.
Desperate for any kind of help, Jackie agrees to fly across the country to a hospital in Seattle.
And I was inpatient there for 3 weeks and 6 hours a day of intense physical therapy. And I was in pain the entire time. I'd be doing an exercise and collapse in pain.
You're just supposed to, almost like a stroke victim, learn all over again how to move, how to walk through pain.
There was a day where I was vomiting and I was just like, I need to go lie down, like I don't feel well. And she just like picked me up by the arm and was like, keep going, keep doing it.
After 3 weeks of intense physical therapy, Jackie graduates from the program and is released. She's still in pain, but has learned to function through her discomfort.
What she did get out of the Seattle hospital is that she was learning to walk a bit more and get through more of the pain, so she was in less of the wheelchair.
And with this improvement, Jackie's doctors begin to suspect that her illness may not be physical after all.
A number of the doctors we were seeing would say, Jacqueline, there's nothing medically wrong with you. Is this because of your mind?
It wouldn't even cross my mind that it would be possible to create this amount of agony for yourself. I couldn't even imagine from the doctor's point of view how you could even think that.
Jackie's doctors suggest that she may be growing too reliant on her parents and losing her sense of independence.
Which is really funny because all through her life, she's always been on her own. I've always sent her away to camp. She's always, traveled by herself.
But with that being said, by the doctor, we said, why don't we send her on a program during the summer? So we signed her up for a program where she spent a couple of weeks in Madrid and a couple of weeks in Barcelona.
The progress Jackie made in physical therapy has given her the confidence to travel to Spain despite her illness.
It was the very first day there. And I had arrived really early before everyone else, and there was one other girl there, and we started talking. And little did I know that this girl was gonna change my life.
For the past 2 years, Jackie Spar has been living with debilitating pain, and no one can tell her why. At the suggestion of doctors who think this all might be in Jackie's head, her parents send her abroad so she can gain some independence. On her first day in Spain, something amazing happens.
There was one other girl there, and we started talking. We realized we had a lot of the same symptoms. We'd seen a lot of the same doctors, and we had a lot of the same misdiagnoses, which was really freaky. She said she had Lyme disease.
Jackie can't believe what she's hearing. She calls her parents from Spain.
She goes, Mom, there's a girl here on my trip, and she's just like me. She was just diagnosed with Lyme disease. I said, you've got to be joking. You've been tested for Lyme disease. There's no way. Everybody has said time and time again, no way, no how. She says, Mom, seriously.
Despite her skepticism, Jackie's mom gets the number of the doctor who diagnosed her new friend. A month later, when Jackie is back from Spain, she arrives for her appointment with Dr. Bernard Raxlin.
What struck you about Jackie was that she was just disgusted with the whole medical profession. She just wanted to throw us all into the water. I mean, all these bells and whistles and all these great degrees and big hospitals. She didn't have a whole lot of faith at that point in time that there was going to be a different scenario.
Dr. Raxlin begins to ask Jackie a series of questions.
And it was just amazing that I was checking off these things on the symptom list. All of my symptoms were on this one list. It was all there. It was just like, oh, wow.
She was amazed to find that almost half the list applied to her.
And they kind of put us at ease in saying, you know what, we have to run the test, but we really think it is Lyme disease.
Lyme disease is caused by the bite of a deer tick infected with a bacteria called Borrelia. The tick embeds itself into the skin and discharges the Borrelia into the bloodstream, which can then wreak havoc throughout the body.
The earlier phase of Lyme disease, it stays mostly in the skin. When it gets into the bloodstream and into other organs, including the heart, the brain, the joints, the muscles, it becomes more difficult to treat. You get pain, you get swelling, and then there's the general symptoms where you're exhausted. I mean, you can't even get up to brush your teeth. You lie in bed 18 hours a day, and it's a lot. I mean, would you know what to make of it if somebody came in with all those symptoms?
In addition to its confusing symptoms, standard tests for Lyme disease can often be unreliable and give false negatives, like in Jackie's case.
In the testing of Lyme disease, mostly there's one or two kits that have been used across the spectrum of most labs. And there are many more sensitive tests or different ways it can be evaluated, and most physicians are not aware of that.
He also explained to me the fact that bacteria hides and it doesn't flow as easily in the blood, so the chances of that one vial of blood carrying the bacteria is very low.
Dr. Raxlin performs a variety of tests on Jackie and sends her blood work to 3 different laboratories across the country for analysis. She tests positive for exposure to the Borrelia bacteria.
We wanted to open champagne. I mean, because now that we had an answer and we knew what was causing this, we could then go find the cure and find out how to fight it.
Chronic Lyme disease is treated with long-term antibiotics. And after a difficult 1.5 years on treatment, Jackie's symptoms finally begin to subside.
It took a lot of time and a lot of waking up each morning and being like, okay, I'm gonna hook up to the IV and I'm gonna push through today. But I got there and I've gotten on my life and I'm functioning, so it's very good.
Jacqueline is such a fighter, so strong-willed, that she was able to graduate on time with her high school class.
Jackie is also extremely lucky. If her Lyme disease hadn't been caught at all, her condition would have gotten even worse.
If she hadn't been treated with aggressive antibiotic therapy, she would have probably had pain for the rest of her life and probably would have manifested more neurological symptoms over the course of time.
Jackie has gone on to college and feels better than she has in years, but she still fights to keep her Lyme disease under control.
Does the bacteria ever leave your system? No. Does the bacteria stay in remission for many, many years? The answer is yes.
The Lyme bug actually did find a very tough person to bite because she's just not going to give up.
I'm still fighting. I'm still, pushing forward each morning. I'm still get up each morning and being like, oh gosh, I have to hook up the IV and take this many amount of pills each day. And it's horrible, I'm not gonna lie, but it's my life. And if that's what I have to do in order to make the rest of my life really good and to make the rest of my life what I want it to be, then I'll do that.